Governor, are you monitoring what's going on in Dolton and Thornton Township and leadership there? Are you concerned? Taxpayers seem very worried. There's chaos at meetings. What can be done? Could you play a role in stepping in some way? What's your take on the situation?
So I've looked at that question, whether the state should and can play a role. The federal authorities, as you may know, are involved and investigating. I've read that. I think that's a public piece of information. There is an investigation that's been called for, and now I know there was a veto that was overridden that will now allow that investigation to go forward with former Mayor Lori Lightfoot in charge of that. I think that those are two pretty good authorities for looking into this, investigating it, and getting to the truth.
And the state, when you look into it?
We'll support them. Well, we looked at whether we ought to put resources, whether it's state police and their anti-corruption efforts, or asking the Attorney General. The reality is that there are already two pretty significant investigations going on, and so we'll support them in every way that we can. But it's really just a matter of, do you want everybody running over each other in those investigations, or do you want two concerted efforts toward getting the facts?
Just a few days ago, this was the chaotic scene in Dolton. Embattled Mayor Tiffany Henyard ending a meeting after these heated confrontations. And it's all over investigations into her spending. Being the mayor of Dolton isn't her only job.
CBS 2 is always investigating. Our Jermont Terry is live with the other south suburbs feeling the effects. Jermont?
Joe and Erica, the city of Markham is one of 17 municipalities sitting in Thornton Township. And the mayor here says he felt compelled to speak about the cloud hanging over the supervisor, Tiffany Henyard, because he insists Henyard is trying to paint Markham in a bad light for her benefit. There's no doubt homeowners in the south suburbs saw an increase in their property taxes. Markham is no exception.
We didn't do anything out of the norms with our levies.
Mayor Roger Ekpawa is speaking out about the 1.6% increase in Markham's tax levy. But he says last month, Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard, who is also the embattled Dolton mayor, led residents to believe the levy was excessive, prompting Markham residents to filter the confusion.
They've been questioned about what's going on with at Thornton Township and what's happening with their taxes. Is there something they need to be concerned about? Why was that brought up? Why was it brought up in that light or in that vein? And I think it was so she can maybe justify why she wants to double down on her budget over there.
Cities can increase levies under 5% without making it public. Yet Ekpawa says Henyard polarized Markham's levy, making it appear the city was hiding something.
We were drawn into this. We didn't ask to be here.
At Wednesday night city council, the mayor made it clear Markham will not subscribe to the nonsense. And with all Henyard has going on at the township and Dolton Village Hall, he says her credibility is questionable.
Are you questioning the spending in Thornton Township at this moment, sir?
I'm not confident with it, that's for sure.
He adds the circus going on in Dolton is a disgrace and is spilling over into the 17 communities making up Thornton Township.
Here's the thing, everybody can't be wrong. You know, you can't have all these people saying what they say. We'd like to see the township do better as well, and we want to encourage that.
Now, Markham's mayor is calling for other municipalities to speak out against Tiffany Henyard, who is the supervisor as well. Reporting live in Markham tonight, Jermont Terry, CBS 2 News.
A rescheduled budget hearing brings lots of fireworks in South Suburban Thornton Township, where a new budget was approved just a short time ago. Now, residents had lots of questions about spending and the township supervisor, Tiffany Henyard, who's also the mayor of Dolton. Our Regina Waldrop's been on this story from the very beginning. She joins us now live with the latest. Regina.
Allison, I have covered a lot of budget meetings, and this one that just wrapped up a short time ago, anything but boring. There was clapping, shouting, screaming, and then there were police. They were on the ready to escort people out of the meeting.
Reach for yourself. Remove her. Remove her. Remove her. Remove her. Now you gotta go.
This budget meeting, anything but typical.
You have been led astray. You have been bamboozled. You have been hooded.
Thornton Township residents from several south suburban communities filled the room, and they had lots to say.
Because what we're not going to do is we're not going to be homeless behind her raising our taxes.
And you said that you have good business skills, then you should take a look at the budget again.
You are a public servant. You serve us.
Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard is also the mayor of Dolton. She is the focus of a wide-ranging FBI investigation. She's also being sued by several Dolton employees, current and former. Residents say there are concerning issues with the township's spending and other areas of township government.
There are so many red flags.
People are just so tired of this whole situation with the not being transparent. And for Dolton, I can speak for Dolton, we don't know what's going on with our money at all.
Henyard makes $224,000 a year in her township supervisor job. In December, the Board of Trustees passed an ordinance that some called outlandish. It states that if Henyard runs for re-election in 2025 and loses, her successor's salary would drop to only $25,000 a year. But a bill passed in Springfield this week would undo that ordinance and make sure a move like this doesn't happen in the future. And that bill did pass in both houses, and right now all it needs is the signature of the governor. And here's what we still don't know tonight: the total amount of the spending plan that was approved. We're still trying to find that number. I'm live in South Holland tonight. Regina Waldrop, NBC5 News.
Regina, thank you. Budget talks are important. However, they can be boring for some people. But when the person in charge of the budget is at the center of numerous lawsuits and a federal investigation, people pay attention. Such is the case in south suburban Thornton Township. Some residents have raised concerns about the budget, but last night's meeting was suddenly canceled. NBC5's Regina Waldrop is in South Holland with the story and what happens next.
They came and they waited for almost an hour. Then they were told Tuesday night's Thornton Township Board of Trustees meeting was not going to happen.
She walks in and says, "Hey guys, the meeting is canceled. Sorry, we're going to have to postpone it."
On the agenda, the proposed spending plan for the township, which consists of 17 south suburban communities and approximately 185,000 residents.
I got all of my paperwork, collected everything, you know, and I'm sitting here ready.
But the budget is the main thing, the reason why I came. Right. For the budget.
Tony Richardson and many others at the meeting have been calling for more transparency. They were hoping to ask questions about the proposed spending plan. They also say they have concerns about Tiffany Henyard. She's the township supervisor and also the mayor of Dolton. Henyard is the focus of a federal criminal investigation and numerous lawsuits by business owners and employees, current and former.
Plenty of red flags, and I can speak so much on the lawsuits and what it does to us as residents from Dolton to the rest of the Thornton Township.
Everybody is fed up. They've let things get too far.
Christopher Gonzalez is a township trustee.
A lot of lack of communication and just, I hate to say, but incompetent.
Gonzalez says he was told Tuesday's meeting was canceled and rescheduled for Friday afternoon because the board didn't have a quorum.
They were here, they were waiting, they wanted to get their voices heard. It's not right.
We reached out to Tiffany Henyard's administration, but didn't hear back before our story aired.
We just need to get some changes made here as far as just moving forward and getting some transparency, getting some questions answered.
And again, that Board of Trustees meeting will now take place this Friday at 1 o'clock at Thornton Township offices. Regina Waldrop, NBC5 News.
Our thanks to Regina. He is a well-known Chicago activist, known for his work at crime scenes and helping grieving families. But now Andrew Holmes is out of a job. The nonprofit he worked for says he's been terminated amid a lawsuit and allegations that he assaulted a former co-worker. Holmes also serves as a trustee in the village of Dolton. NBC5's Regina Waldrop with tonight's story.
We're in the most dangerous areas at the most dangerous time at night.
His name, his face, synonymous with the fight against Chicago violence.
We are just concerned about the child right about now.
On TV screens and in newspapers, Andrew Holmes stood with families during their most difficult times. He met with dignitaries, received countless awards for his work as a crisis responder. But in the wake of allegations against him, now the group he worked for, Chicago Survivors, says Andrew's been terminated. A statement to NBC5 reads, "Our mission is to provide crime victim services to family members of homicide victims, so our relationship with those families and our community is paramount. Without compromise, there needs to be strong mutual trust and an assumed high level of safety for the adults and children we serve. For those reasons, we terminated his employment in April upon learning of the serious allegations."
I'm fighting for every woman.
Holmes also serves as an elected trustee in the village of Dolton. He's being sued by Fania Dukes, Mayor Tiffany Henyard's ex-assistant. Dukes filed this civil lawsuit against Henyard and Holmes. She accuses him of assaulting her. Dukes issued this statement last week describing the lawsuit's allegations.
Until my last memory was me waking up in his room.
In this video, she details what she says happened before and after an incident that allegedly occurred almost a year ago during a taxpayer-paid economic development trip to Las Vegas. On that trip, Henyard, a handful of Village and Thornton Township reps, and Trustee Holmes. According to the lawsuit, after dinner and walking the Las Vegas Strip with Holmes, Dukes felt disoriented and ultimately blacked out. Holmes has not responded to our repeated requests for a comment. Mary Avant is a retired Chicago police officer. She says the allegations are serious and Chicago survivors did the right thing.
I think it's a little bit of being careful because they have to be concerned about themselves and the look it gives them.
And many residents and also some trustees are calling on Andrew Holmes to step down from the village board. Reporting from Dolton, I'm Regina Waldrop, NBC5 News.
Next at 4, the Mayor Markham is blasting Tiffany Henyard over her behavior as Thornton Township supervisor.
Dane Placco has more from the south suburbs.
The mayor of South Suburban Markham says he's had enough of all the drama surrounding Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard, and he plans to make a statement at tonight's village board meeting condemning her recent actions.
I just really wish that some of that leadership would stop.
Markham Mayor Roger Agpawa and village trustees and administrators told me this afternoon there needs to be a change in leadership at Thornton Township, which includes the village of Markham and more than a dozen other South Suburban communities. Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard, who also doubles as Dolton Mayor, recently made remarks questioning property taxes and spending by communities in the township. But Henyard herself has been the focus of scrutiny and an FBI investigation for her spending practices, including expensive out-of-town trips, the use of both vehicles and employees for personal purposes, and a large security detail on the taxpayer's dime.
I think that it's the polarization that leadership and politicians get, and I think that it puts a bad taste and disdain to the residents and to the public and how we are perceived.
We're suffering in Thornton Township, and Tiffany needs to stop. It's so hard to call her supervisor when she's not doing anything right, and it needs to stop.
The mayor says Henyard seems to enjoy operating in a culture of chaos and conflict, and he says for the benefit of taxpayers of Thornton Township, that needs to end. In Markham, Dane Placco, Fox 32 Chicago.
The mayor of Markham is blasting Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard over her behavior in her other job as Thornton Township supervisor. Mayor Roger Agpawa and village trustees told our Dane Placco there needs to be a change in leadership at the township, which includes the village of Markham and more than a dozen other South Suburban communities. The mayor started tonight's village board meeting condemning Henyard's recent actions and some statements she has made about Markham's property taxes.
That isn't what's happening in Thornton Township, and it's unfortunate for that leadership. But we'll call it out and we'll move on. But we're not going to get part of the circus. We won't let that happen.
The mayor told us Henyard seems to be enjoying operating in a climate of chaos, and that needs to end.
To be on the street fighting crime, and instead we have several officers that are riding around protecting the mayor.
The former police chief in South Suburban Dolton is speaking out for the first time to just one station about Mayor Tiffany Henyard's controversial police security detail and how it impacted his ability to fight crime.
Last year, a Fox 32 investigation showed how that detail is taking officers off the street and costing taxpayers thousands of dollars in overtime. Dane Placco continues his investigation, exclusively talking to the former top cop who tried to put a stop to it.
The manpower was just very stressed and critical to the point of almost breaking.
Former Dolton Police Chief Robert Collins spoke to us from Florida, where he's taken a new job after being fired by Dolton Mayor Tiffany Henyard late last year. But Collins says he remains frustrated by what he experienced leading an undermanned, overworked police department, while Mayor Henyard demanded a large personal security detail.
You know, wrong is wrong, and there's a time to hold people responsible and accountable for their actions.
Last year, a Fox 32 investigation followed Henyard's detail as Dolton police officers drove her from morning till night, often to her second taxpayer-funded job as Thornton Township supervisor in South Holland. Through an open records request, we found the officers assigned to Henyard racking up hundreds of hours of overtime, costing taxpayers tens of thousands of dollars.
But at some point, there would be 2 officers or 3 officers, and depending on if there was some type of event, it would be more officers.
That's for a town of a little more than 20,000 people that's struggling economically and usually only has a few officers on duty per shift. Collins says Henyard's security detail was warranted when it started in 2021 after a police-involved shooting sparked protests and threats.
And at some point, the protests stopped. However, the detail continued.
And it grew in size and scope. Collins says Henyard frequently uses the officers as her personal valets.
Officers would be sent out to run errands, to do pickups.
And the mayor's detail racked up thousands of dollars in travel expenses, accompanying Henyard on her many trips out of town.
Why do you need a security detail while you're out of town? Who's on the other end of that flight that's going to do harm?
Collins says he became increasingly frustrated because the mayor's detail tied his hands when it came to fighting crime. Just last week, a mass shooting on Sibley Boulevard left 4 people injured. Collins believes the bad guys know there aren't enough cops on Dolton's streets.
But Village of Dolton has its challenges with gangs, guns, and drugs. And if those officers aren't there, the visibility isn't there. And if the visibility isn't there, then criminals have free reign.
When we tried to ask Mayor Henyard about her use of the detail last year, we were stopped by Village Administrator Keith Freeman. Mayor, mind if I ask you a couple questions about your security detail?
Absolutely not.
I'm asking her.
Yeah, she says no.
Collins says he got the same cold shoulder when he tried to tell Freeman about the problems the mayor's detail was creating.
And it more or less was, these are the orders. This is what you have to do.
Last week, Collins filed a civil lawsuit against the Village of Dolton for wrongful termination, saying he was fired by the mayor without cause and without board approval because his wife is friends with some of the mayor's perceived political enemies.
And our contention is that it is illegal.
Did he do anything wrong?
No. Chief Collins, any position that he's ever been in is a policeman's policeman. He held the rank of chief, but he's a patrolman at heart.
But it is frustrating to see the officers used like that. I'm sure the officers are frustrated too, but they following orders.
In Dolton, Dane Placco, Fox 32 Chicago.
And we did send a list of questions to the Dolton mayor's office to allow them to respond to the former chief's accusations. We have not yet received a reply to
My comment is public comment.
Grasping a gold microphone, Tiffany Henyard faced questions she, for the most part, refused to answer.
When you don't answer questions, there's something to hide.
No, Madam Supervisor, we are not brainwashed. We are fed up.
Henyard is under siege in both of the public offices she holds, Thornton Township Supervisor and Dolton Mayor. The most recent controversy involves a taxpayer-funded trip to Las Vegas, in which a Dolton trustee is accused of sexual misconduct against a village employee. The woman claims in a lawsuit she and a member of Henyard's security detail, who was also on the trip, faced retaliation after reporting it to Henyard. They claim she responded by saying if the information got out, Henyard would be ruined and all the work she had done would be lost.
As a black woman, I want to see you protect black women. And I haven't seen that, Tiffany. since you've been in office, even in Dalton.
And I understand. Let's not talk about an investigation while I was pending, but it wasn't pending until it was exposed. And she had to do it herself because you betrayed her.
WGN Investigates reported earlier this year Henyard and her allies in the township racked up more than $67,000 on travel in a several-month period last year. Many of the flights were first class. So were the accommodations. Henyard has never fully explained the spending and continues to say she's the victim of vicious opponents and racism.
We're here to help each other, not hurt each other. And it's a shame that us, I'm talking to my black and brown communities, will sit here and fight.
Henyard had several supporters in the crowd, including anti-violence advocate Tio Hardiman, who offered himself up as a mediator.
The baby has not been charged with anything. Be ready to throw the baby away with the bathwater.
We've learned federal investigators have been sniffing around the South Suburban government's Henyard runs for months. The Illinois Attorney General has also found Henyard's staff is violating open records laws by refusing to turn over financial records requested by WGN Investigates and others. It's unclear whether further action by the state AG or the feds is imminent.